Now, when it comes to the fight against greenhouse gas emissions, one particular aspect has been left unaccounted for. The world's armed forces, as per a 2022 report, militaries account for 5.5% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Activists are pressuring the UN to force armies to disclose all their emissions and end a long-standing exemption. Our next report brings you more. Take a look.
Scientists and environmental groups say it's time for the world's armed forces to come clean about emissions. With world temperatures hitting new highs and the climate impact of the war in Ukraine coming into sharper focus, experts are turning up the heat on the United Nations to force armies to disclose more information. But why have they become such blind spots in the war against emissions? Militaries are among the world's biggest consumers of fuel. They account for 5.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That's according to an estimate by international experts last year. Another expert said hundreds of millions of tons of carbon emissions may currently be unaccounted for. Basically, what militaries do abroad doesn't need to be reported. That would cover anything from flying jets to sailing ships to training exercises. That kind of work was left out of the 1997 Kyoto Protocol and the 2015 Paris Accord. The argument? Data about armies' energy use could undermine national security. Groups lobbying the UN to lift the military exemptions point to a surge in emissions related to the war in Ukraine.
There can be no effective climate policy without the peace on the earth.
One report suggested the first year of war will trigger a net increase of 120 million tons of greenhouse gases. That's equivalent to the annual output of Singapore, Switzerland, and Syria combined. Environmental groups and academics are using research papers, letter campaigns, and conferences to push for change. There's been an uptick in peer-reviewed papers in recent years. The UN's climate body says there are no concrete plans to amend guidance on military emissions accounting. Still, there are signs some militaries are preparing for change. Western Security Alliance NATO says it's created a methodology to crunch emissions numbers.
We cannot choose between either a green military or a strong military. We need a green and strong military.
New Zealand, Britain, and Germany all say they're looking to address gray areas in reporting.
Hearing no objections, it is so decided.
And Washington sent a Pentagon delegation to the COP27 summit in Egypt last year for the first time.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.